Welcome back to the second session. Yeah, are you able to follow Kaushik? Is your network now stable?
Yes, I think it is stable. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me, introduce yourself, Kaushik. I don't know about you much, just that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Kaushik Dwara. I am basically from Assam. So
Yes.
currently I'm doing my PhD in environmental sciences from Pondicherry University. So, and I'm also in the process of moving to this place called Shollywood in Kerala with my partner. And yeah, like right now I'm also writing my thesis for my PhD thesis, and
Very nice.
probably by the end of this year I'll be done with that.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Great. So are you able to follow the conversation, like the proposals and all the previous session?
Yes.
Yeah. Any question do you have on the proposals?
Right now I don't have any questions. I want to understand more like what's going on. So
yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about Meghna? Meghna, will you be able to use your audio mic?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. Yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm trying to follow. When I check the recording, I think I'm able to follow, I think 60-70%.
Okay.
And to get the, used to the terminology, what you're using also is what I need to, in the break time, I will go through the notes, so I'll be able to follow completely.
Yeah. Would you be able to introduce yourself to the group? Please?
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Meghna. I am a dental surgeon, and in the last 2 years, I have dwelled into natural living and natural lifestyle, and that's how I discovered stuff. And I basically like to. I have a keen interest in women's wellness, and also I think bringing natural lifestyle into your living is the best way and the best option and more sustainable. So that is what got this, what do you say, interest in me to attend the workshop.
Thank you. Thanks for attending, Meghna. We'll be definitely be enriched with your inputs as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Great. Xenia, have you joined? Yeah. Xenia, is it audible? Everything
Yes.
Are you able to follow?
Yes, I've joined. I'm able to follow. Yes.
Yeah, I think after 2 years you are repeating this.
Yeah, I think more than 2 years, almost 3
More
years.
than almost 3 years. Yes. I remember Montaj was around 2 years that time. Now she's 5.5. She played a lot with you that camp.
Yes, those are my fondest memories, like just being around her, looking at her. So
yes.
it was wonderful. And it's really nice to go back to the theory of nature cure.
Yes.
I like the practical part I try and do, but it's always good to go back and just
yes. And
revise.
there are a lot of explorations in the last 3 years you will be able to identify in this workshop. Yeah. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Great. So any other question which is bothering anyone? Yeah. Dr. Kaur, your voice is not clear. Dr. Kaur, you want to? Dr. Kaur, your audio is not coming properly. It's there is some disturbances. No. Can you please note down without forgetting the question or the proposal, so that whenever it is set, yes, now it's. If you have removed, then it was audible.
Is it audible now?
Yes, perfect now. Please go ahead.
Okay, just can you say a few words about sense of life? This word you have used here, the sense of life.
Yes. So,
vitality.
So we identify our life with our senses, right? Like that we are alive. So that identification needs support of the conserved vitality. If we do not have the conserved portion of vitality, we will not be able to identify life. This identification of the life is meant by sense of life. Now, more conserved vitality you have lot of sense of life, full of energy that you identify within you, which is actually the conserved portion of the energy within you.
Hello.
Yes, Dr.
As far as my understanding is concerned, this sense of life is your sense organs, these 5 vital sense organs. They are in full and 100% functioning. You are able to listen people calmly. You are able to watch the things, what is happening around. You are able to relish the taste of natural foods, and your skin percepting the things. And these sense organs are in full function. That is actually the sense of life. As you ages, your vision is compromised due to this physiological aging due to cataract. Your hearing organs, that is compromised. That is, you are not able to hear properly. That is the aging process. So your vitality is conserved. So you are sensing the life by your sense organs. So your conserved vitality is there, more conserved vitality is there. Your sense organs are in full function, and you are sensing the life as it is. Sir.
Yeah, beautiful explanation. Thank you, Dr. Bey. Right. So. Yeah, Minu, you did unmute. I muted you back. There was some noise. Did you want to say something?
Maybe it happened by mistake, sir.
Okay. A lot of noise around it. Yeah. Right. So let's proceed. Yeah, Ansu, you want to say something? Yeah.
No, please. Sir. Actually, I'm outside, so I may be on mute, but I'll be listening everything.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So let's proceed. After understanding the connection between the homeostasis and the conserved vitality of energy. Now, if we have identified slightly the connection between the homeostasis and the vitality, now the next question comes that when we talk about the nature and its all entity and claim that through our observation, claim that everything is programmed, try and focus on this word, everything is programmed to maintain their homeostasis. That means programmatically, there has to be something in all the entities, including the organism in nature, which will help that organism to maintain the homeostasis. So when we propose that the knack of all the organisms is to maintain the homeostasis, the knack means the programmatic aspect, then programmatically there has to be some provision which will help the organism to maintain the homeostasis. What could be those provisions? We can choose to call those as indicators of homeostasis, which will indicate you whether the homeostasis is being maintained or toppled. Like in case of your car, the fuel gauge. The fuel gauge indicates you whether it is a full tank you have or the tank is getting emptied. E stands for empty, F stands for full. This is the gasoline icon. So whether the gas is there in the car or not, that can be indicated through this indicator to the driver, whoever is driving the car or maintaining the car. So the indicator is one thing, has to be intact. If the indicator is mutilated, suppose you go to the mechanic shop and ask the mechanic that make some arrangement in this indicator, it should always show as full. That means you are opting something which is actually jeopardizing the primary purpose of the indicator. You are opting something which is jeopardizing the primary purpose of the indicator, which is actually showing whether the fuel is there or not. Now, do we do that for ourselves or not? That we need to check. So the indicator that we identify to maintain the homeostasis here in terms of pure nature cure terminologies, it is called the voice of the organism. The voice of the organism is the responses of the sense organs in terms of pleasure and pain. The voice of the organism is nothing but the responses of our sense organs primarily in terms of the pleasure and pain. Every experiences we identify as pleasure or pain. Now, this pleasure and the pain both actually are indicators to bring back the homeostasis. So pleasure means if some stimulus is pleasurable, the voice of the organism says that this particular stimulus is useful to us to conserve energy to maintain the homeostasis. If some stimulus is painful, then the voice of the organism says that this particular stimulus is avoidable and compromises the conservation of energy and compromises the homeostasis. If we deny the stimulus which is pleasurable, then also we innervate ourselves or we deplete our energy because of unsatiation, because the pleasure has to be satiated. Natural pleasure has to be satiated. If we are not satiating ourselves, then we are depleting our energy. On the other hand, if the stimulus of painful experience is not rejected, but the pain is suppressed, the sense of pain is suppressed without the rejection of the stimulus, then actually also we deplete our energy. So, all in all, the proposal is so we have the voice of the organism as pleasure and the pain. Now, pleasure comes from some stimulus S1, pain comes from some stimulus, let's consider S2. Now, this S1 and S2, how we naturally react or respond is S1 we accept and S2 we reject. These are the natural responses. And if we accept and reject respectively, we conserve energy, because the pleasure is an indication that we need S1 and pain is the indication that we don't need S2. So honoring this indication is conservation of energy. If we are dishonoring these indications, then we are depleting our energy. That means if we do not accept this, then we remain unsatiated, we deplete ourselves. If we do not reject it, that time what happens? We would end up suppressing the pain, because the pain is not acceptable. We focus on the indicator and we just change the indications. We do not reject it. So there we actually jeopardize the primary connection with the purpose. So the programmatic purpose of pleasure and pain to indicate whether we are conserving vitality or not, whether we are maintaining homeostasis or not. Pleasure and pain are not the goals of life, but these are the voice of the organism and the indicators of maintaining the homeostasis. Are you able to understand this? Anyone who is not able to comprehend? Anyone who is not able to comprehend this aspect of the pleasure and pain? Right, right. So can I get some responses, maybe vocal or chat, through chat? Yeah,
Yes,
Minish.
sir, we can understand the purpose of pleasure and pain.
Yes, yes. Taran,
Yes, sir.
are you able to understand, ma'am?
Yes, sir,
The connection,
understood.
pleasure and pain, and with the
Pleasure, pain, S1, S2.
yes, with the conservation of energy, because the primary aspect is to identify the connection of the energy and the voice of the organism. That was the objective, right? Right. So yeah, Deepa, you want to ask? Yeah, please, you are mute.
I was just wondering, like, even if pleasure is not accepted and pain is not rejected, like homeostasis will still keep working, but it would be hampered, but homeostasis will still go on. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the like programmatic endeavor to maintain the homeostasis will go on anytime it will go on. But in the process, in the bargain, what happens? The experience of the life will be compromised. The sense of life will be lowered. And what happens in this process? What happens? We end up artificially stimulate the pleasure, because as Ansu asked that do we mean that pleasure and pain are the goals? No. Pleasure and pains are the indicators. These cannot be the goals of life. These are the indicators. These are very needful. Undeniably, but these cannot be the goal of life. Now, when we start considering that pleasure and pain are the goals of life, that time what happens? Like pleasure, basically, pain cannot be the goal of life. Anyone will identify. But pleasure, if we start identifying that the pleasure is the goal of life, that time what we do? We end up stimulating pleasure artificially. In natural aspects, the stimulation is absent because it is the programmatic aspect. It is not an intentional change or modification. So we need to identify this, that the compromise with the energy happens when we stimulate the pleasure. So here let me bring some examples, because this might look like very theoretical. Pleasure and food is a very easy example to identify. So suppose mango. Mango is relishable naturally without any modification. So it gives us pleasure. And mango jam or the mango juice, the juice means the factory juice made by the factories. So this also gives pleasure. But this is stimulated. This is stimulated because the CEO of the mango juice company aimed to lure you, whereas the mango tree did not aim to lure any one of us. So Here, the pleasure is the natural pleasure without stimulation. Here, the exaggeration of pleasure is the objective, and this is called stimulation. On the other hand, if we take an example of chili, the chili causes pain. Chili causes pain, and it has to be responded naturally through rejection. Chili causes pain, so naturally the response was to be rejection. But we end up consuming chili by suppressing pain. By suppressing pain, we end up consuming chili without rejection. So chili was to be rejected naturally. Being a natural substance, everything is consumable. That's not the proposal. Chili, the taste-wise, it is irritating. Nobody can consume chili singly. So chili is not a natural food for us. But we end up, as a human genre, we ended up identifying this as a spice or whatnot stories, and then we continue consuming it without rejecting. What we did is we mixed taste of chili because it is irritating with something else and made it acceptable. That means we suppress the sense of pain. Now the impact of chili with sensing the pain, without sensing the pain, physiologically will be the same. Because any food that we consume will be disintegrated, the impact of each element, each ingredient will be as it was to be consumed singly. We just end up suppress the outer pain sensation. The impact of that substance cannot be changed. So what happens? The suppression of the pain and the stimulation of pleasure goes hand in hand. And while doing that, we actually increase that black portion and reduce the green portion. The conserved vitality goes for a toss. And what happens? We compromise one of our major activities. What is that major activities? What is that major activity? The activities, if we can bifurcate the activities that we do, those are in, processing, out. Means input, processing of the input matters as far as the food is concerned, thought is concerned, everything. But here let's try and understand in terms of the food first. So when we take input, continue taking input, processing is an obvious thing. Physiological level, we'll process it, and then we throw the garbage out, throw the unwanted, unnecessary matters out of the body. So these three layers, 1, 2, 3. Now, when we do not stop these in and processing and run out of the vitality because of the black consumption. So chili was a small example. We can actually go within and identify what all suppression of the pain and stimulation of the pleasures that we keep on adding to our lives. Cumulatively, that impact actually reduces the green portion of the conserved vitality. And reduction of the conserved vitality reduces the provisions of output. This gets reduced. The output, and output is basically the toxin elements output. We throw out the toxins, those are collected in the body or generated by the body. Try and understand this difference. So toxins are collected from the outside in the body and generated within the body also. And toxin which is collected from the outside is external toxin. And toxin which is produced within the cells, generated within the body due to the metabolism, That is the toxin coming out from the body, which is the more important toxin to be thrown out, which is called internal toxin. So toxins, if we can bifurcate the understanding of toxin, toxins are of two types. Toxins are basically unwanted, unnecessary matters within the body. Nothing is universal toxin, which is toxin for me, for other organism, which may not be the toxin, which could be a food for that toxin, for that organism. So toxin is a specific, species specific primarily. It could be external toxin, it could be internal toxin. External toxin ejects out through excretion. This is called excretion, not elimination, which is basically cleaning of digestive system. So whatever the food that we consume, Minu, lot of noise around you. Can you type in your question if you have any question or proposal? Because a lot of noise, it will disturb the group. Right. So,
Sir, I think it was a mistake. I don't know how it is getting pressed. I'll just take care of it now.
okay, thank you. Thank you. So Minu is on a vacation, so maybe on a trip, a lot of noise around. Right. So external is that whenever we consume any food, it goes to the digestive system, and whatever the needed absorption happens post digestion, then the rest of the matters are ejected out through the passing of the stool. This is called external toxin excretion. This is the cleaning of the digestive system. This is the external toxin throwing out. Now, internal toxin means within the cells, the toxins are generated and those toxins are transferred to the blood, and blood gets purified in 3 purifications process: through the lungs, through the kidneys, through the skin. So we have these 3 blood filtering elements: lungs, kidneys, and skin. Now, through these 3 filtering elements, the blood gets purified. So this is called elimination. Purification of blood. Purification of blood. Through the breathing out, through the urination, and through sweating, the blood gets purified. Now, whenever we keep on compromising with the voice of the organism primarily, we deplete ourselves, we run out of energy, and the output, primarily these 3 output gets compromised. And here, try and understand the experiences of ours. If there is a change in the breathe out, or urination, or sweating, hardly that restricts our day-to-day life. If there is a small change that happens. So if there is a small change, body tries to adjust with it. Even though if we are not throwing the toxin out, that means we are heading towards a state of accumulated toxin within the body. So reduction of the output, which is primarily the internal toxin output, that means reduction or the modification in breathing out, urination, and sweating, that leads us to retaining toxin within the body. And that retainment of the toxin again deplete our energy, and that becomes a vicious cycle, because the same lifestyle I'm continuing, which led me to the reduction of the toxin elimination and retainment of the toxin. That lifestyle I have continued. I have not identified the energy impact and all the stuff. I have continued the same lifestyle, and I have retained some toxin. So that added toxin will add up in the energy depletion, and I'll lead myself to further toxin accumulation. In a vicious cycle, this goes on. So this state of accumulated toxin is called toxemia. And the depleted state of energy is called enervation. So these are
Kalyanji, just one point I wanted to make.
yes, ma'am.
That breathing out happens every day, all the time. Urination also happens regularly. But sweating happens only when we make an effort. It doesn't happen naturally. If we are in a comfortable state, then
No,
what happens
make an
about
effort.
that part?
Make an effort means for sweating you have to.
Exercise.
Yeah, so it's like any effort. If you're terming that physical working, physical works are the effort. So those are parts and partials of the life, and so is the sweating also. Like if you are meaning that effort means for sweating we have to do something, then it is an idea you are bringing here. Otherwise, in day-to-day life, we do physical works, and there is a change in the climate. And according to the climate and the physical work, there will be default sweating going on. And perspiration may not be visible clearly on the skin, but those are evaporating continuously from the, because the skin is the largest eliminating organ. So it's throughout the body.
So it may not be perceived by us.
Yes.
But it happens.
Yes, it happens through the perspiration. It happens. Yeah, Rohit, you want to say something?
Yeah. So I had a question.
Yes.
I think I remember from one of the courses that sometimes, let's say, if external toxins which we are breathing in, let's say, coming from the breathing route, and if they accumulate in lungs and we cough, so that coughing is a process that kind of moves the toxin in the lungs to the digestive tract, and then they pass out as stool. So I think just wanted to make a comment ki sometimes this exchange can also happen, like something which has to be eliminated. If it cannot be eliminated, it might be excreted as well. So
yes. For the kids, thanks for bringing that in. For the kids, actually, through the excretion also, a lot of eliminated eliminating toxins can come. So what Rohit explained is through the coughing. Suppose if toxins are accumulated in the lungs and children cannot spit it out normally. So through the coughing, that accumulated toxin, which is the elimination here in the lungs, the eliminating blood purified toxins, those comes to the digestive system and comes out of the stool. That's happened for the kids primarily a lot. Thank you for bringing that. Yeah, Rashi.
Kalyan, I have I have a question here. So I think this external and internal are interlinked, right? Because when we eat, the digestive system is actually absorbing the nutrients and assimilating it. And that could be actually a process of elimination by metabolizing, whatever is there inside the cell. So are they not interlinked? For example, I would like to know what happens if you're on a water fast. So the external elimination will not happen, but the internal will still continue even without consuming anything.
Yes. External elimination, whatever the old stools, those will be eliminated, like excreted. Yeah, I'm getting an alert of ending of the session. So let's take this question at the beginning of the next session.
Sir, can I propose another question?
Yeah, in the next session, because it is going to be ended soon.
Okay.
So we'll start another session with 5 minutes of silence, and post that we'll take Rashi's and Minu's question. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.